Why can't you? Oh, because society tells you that you're depressed and you need a pill? Because everyone says they're anxious and uses that as an excuse to escape and avoid reality? Dude, you have an opportunity to level the fuck up. When you're anxious, what are you anxious about? Go fix it, face it, head on, right? Like, that's the truth. Anxiety is just your nerves. You're rattled about something. What are you scared about? Don't suppress it. Write about it, talk about it, express it. Welcome back to another episode of the Unstoppable Mindset Podcast. I'm your host, Sean Michael Crane. Let's fucking get into it today, you guys. Hey, this episode's going to be all about mental health. Is it mental health awareness? I don't know, but I feel like I'm always hearing this word mental health, these two words, and I feel like a lot of people struggle in this area, especially men and women. I don't know. A lot of people are fucking struggling right now. So look at, if you have somebody that you know, maybe it's yourself, who struggle with mental health, share this episode with them. I'm going to share my thoughts and opinions and what's helped me. What helped me to overcome depression, anxiety, drug and alcohol addiction. And I did all this while I was facing life in prison. So if I could do this, you can too. That's the message today. Number one, you have to believe that. For the longest time in my life, I was a victim of circumstances. So I think a lot of mental health has to do with the way you talk to yourself about your life and the way you interpret what you go through. And the reason I think that is because for many, many, many years, I was a victim of my circumstances. My parents broke up. My dad went to prison. My mom found a new boyfriend. She got strung out on drugs and alcohol. And all this happened my freshman year in high school. My freshman year in high school, I'm trying to figure out who I am as a young man and a person in this world. I lose the two most important people to me, my parents. And in that moment, I felt hopeless. And I felt so broken that I couldn't withstand the pain that I was going through. I remember I'd get up literally in the middle of the night and I couldn't sleep, and I'd just go in the bathroom and look in the mirror and I'd start crying. And I'd be so angry. I'd be clenching my fists and I'd be like flexing all my muscles and just overcome with anger, man, that I lost my parents and that they did that to us, me and my siblings. Notice my words there. They did that to us, right? I was so fucking pissed. And then I was sad. And then I was angry. And then I was ashamed, and I had all these emotions, and I just bottled them up, and I started using drugs and alcohol to numb out that pain. So for 10 years, that's what I did. I didn't deal with it. I didn't talk about it. I just kept it suppressed. I stopped going around my old friends. I stopped seeing family members and going to family functions. I just wanted to run and run and run from my problems. So, of course, I suffered because that emotion was still bottled up inside of me, those memories, and the feeling I had was I was still ashamed of my life. And it wasn't until I was in prison that I finally dealt with that stuff. And I wrote my parents letters of forgiveness, and I accepted what had happened. And I had such a massive challenge that I was about to face. I just felt that was like what I had to do. I had to let go of it. I had to move on. And it happened just like that. And so acceptance is what helped me to change my life and rebuild my life to what I have today. A lot of people struggle with acceptance. They struggle with acceptance. They dwell on things, and they're still angry at their spouse that divorced them. They're still angry at their principal from high school. They're still pissed off at their parents. A lot of people carry trauma into their future lives, and they recycle those emotions over and over and over. 9 times out of 10, when people are suffering from mental health, it's for two reasons. Number one, they haven't accepted and dealt with traumatic experiences or negative experiences in their life and forgiven whoever was involved and just able to heal and grow through them. And number two, it's the way they talk to themselves about what they're going through in their current lives. Like, if I could read your mind, I would tell you exactly what you need to change to become a happier person, because it's all about how you interpret your life's events. And I learned this again when I was incarcerated. You see, prison for me was like the Harvard of life. It was like I got all the lessons I needed bestowed upon me by the universe to transform. So the first one was acceptance and healing. The second one was being put in a box where I was isolated 24 hours a day, and I had nothing but time. And that's when I became very aware of my own thoughts. See, a lot of people, they're just having these same reoccurring thoughts in their day over and over and over. And some studies show upwards of 60, even 90% of your thoughts are reoccurring, and most of them are negative. Right? Again, 60 to 90%. Now, these statistics vary, but what it tells you is that a lot of your thoughts are the same as they were yesterday, and a lot of them have a negative theme to them, which is interesting, right? So how could you change for the better, or how could you feel better if you're having the same thoughts over and over and over, and a lot of them are negative about you in your life? Maybe they're stemming from the past. Maybe you're not happy with what you're doing. Whatever it is, you're having these negative thoughts and feelings. You're not going to change much until you get aware of what those thoughts are. And then you create these pattern interrupts, or you shift your perspective so that you could start to think differently. You see, that's what prison did for me. I remember I was sitting in my cell, and every day I'd wake up, and all I would think about was how I was going to do life in prison, how no one believed that I was innocent, how all the people at the party that knew the truth wouldn't come forward and share that I was innocent, and poor me, and blah, 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 blah. And it was just this negative onslaught of feelings and emotions based on the way I was thinking. My lawyers don't believe me. The judge wants to send me to prison for life. I'm going to spend the rest of my existence in a concrete box. I'm never going to have kids. I'm never going to see my loved ones. Over and over and over and over and over. Now, I was hyper aware of these thoughts. I was literally thinking them. You know, a lot of you aren't aware of your thoughts, and you're just going through the motions in your life because you're on your phone, you're driving, you're talking to people, you're working. Well, I had nothing to distract me, so I was hyper aware of my thoughts. But then the chain reaction was emotionally, I was a mess, anxious, fearful, stressed, just so consumed with this negativity. And I don't know how this happened. God intervened in my life. Something different happened. It was a pattern interrupt. And the pattern interrupt was me sitting on my bunk. And when I started to have these negative thoughts, I thought, what if this experience is going to help you, Sean? Like, what if you needed to come to prison and jail and whatever's going to happen to you to get sober, and you would have died or accidentally overdosed, and this experience is going to save your life? Or what if you needed this experience to get away from your dad and your uncles and your friends and all those toxic people you used to be around to finally just be your true self and figure out who the fuck you are? Like, build a relationship with yourself. You know, and the ultimate one was coming to terms with the fact that that experience could possibly be a blessing in disguise. And maybe there was this grand and master plan for my life that I couldn't see or understand, but God had a purpose for me. And I remember I started thinking, what if? You know, that was the pattern interrupt. But not what if and then something negative. What if I never get out of this cell? What if I never have a family? What if I'm in here for the rest of my life? It was, what if this is a good experience? What if this is a blessing in disguise? What if this experience gets me sober and saves my life? You see, at any moment, you can do the same. You can choose to turn those what ifs about the future into positive what ifs versus negatives. And I think a lot of people, they do what I was sharing, I was doing first. You do the what if and then a negative. What if I lose my job? You know, what if she breaks up with me? What if, what if, what if? And you're creating these negative situations. You're fabricating them into the future. A lot of people do that all day long. Or when they're going through their day and something happens that could be perceived as negative or something that's adverse, whether you're sitting in traffic, maybe someone crashes into you, right? Or your phone breaks, or something happens. Whatever it is, there's a million scenarios. You immediately get angry and upset about it, or you immediately think about how that's going to ruin your day, or there's some negative repercussion for that event. What I learned to do in prison is everything that would happen to me, I'd try to find the silver lining. And I'd try to look at that set of circumstances or situation and figure out how it could positively affect me in my life. I'm talking about over and over and over. All day long, I started doing this in my life. And I still do it to this day, and it's like a superpower. Most people can't develop this skill in their thinking. But I'm telling you, if you can go through your day and everything that happens to you that you think is negative, that you want to get pissed off about, you could find the silver lining or the opportunity that lies in that experience. You're not going to have negative thoughts and emotions behind it. You're going to have the opposite. You're going to feel positive. You're going to feel hopeful. You're going to find gratitude even in moments where you should be upset, angry, or pissed off, like most people. Like, you can tell a lot about somebody about how they drive their car and how they react in traffic. I pay attention to how people drive. Are they all over the road? Are they cussing people off? Are they flipping people off? Are they in traffic panicking and freaking out? Like, dude, you're missing the bigger picture here. You're making your life miserable. You're going to get there, maybe 3 minutes later, but you're going to fucking get there, right? So, like, I pay attention to these things, and I know that everything in life that you have, whether it's your results in life, whether it's your struggles, whether it's your mental health, whatever it is, the physique that you walk around in, it's all a reflection of your inner thoughts. And if you can get control over how you think, I don't care if you think you have depression or you're anxious, it's because of the way you're thinking that's causing you to feel that way. Now, there's some people that do have chemical imbalances. There's some people that do have, they say there's a genetic predisposition to depression and stuff like that. I'm skeptical about that because of the transformation I went through, eradicating my addiction, 12 years sober now, overcoming depression and anxiety in a jail cell just by changing my thoughts and my beliefs. Like, I believe anybody can. And I didn't just change my thinking, I changed my daily actions. If you're depressed, what is depression? Well, depression is categorized, if you look it up, as basically your brain's not releasing enough serotonin. It's a deficit of serotonin. How the fuck do you increase serotonin in your life? Work out, like do things that make you feel proud of yourself, do things that are exhilarating, pursue your passions. Like there's a recipe for positivity, you guys. It's do as many things in your day as you fucking can to make you proud of who you see in the mirror. If you exhaust yourself daily and you're working out, you're running, you're reading books, you're like pushing yourself, donate time to homeless shelters, like give back to other people, like just do as many positive things as you can. I can list off 20 of them right now. It'd be really hard to be depressed in your life. But when people are battling depression, they think about how they're depressed. So then what? They don't have energy. They don't have the motivation. So they don't go and move their body. They skip the gym. They eat bad food. Maybe they're drinking. They're on their phones all day long. No wonder you're fucking depressed and anxious. Like the things you're doing are contributing to that. Dude, I'm here to tell you, like I created inner peace and so much positivity in a 6x8 jail cell that I never left for 8 months straight before I went on to do the rest of my prison time. I created so much positive energy and feelings inside my body by doing burpees until I was so exhausted and pouring sweat that I couldn't even push myself up off the cell. Like that's what it took. It was either that or be fucking depressed and suicidal on my bunk and do nothing, right? It was either read books and look up words in the dictionary or sit there and think about how I'm never getting out of prison and want to hang myself with my fucking sheet, right? Like seriously, this is the truth. It was either think about how anxious I am and sad I am and fearful I am and how the world's against me or fucking do something about it. Now, if I chose to do something about it under those circumstances, why can't you? Why can't you? Oh, because society tells you that you're depressed and you need a pill? Because everyone says they're anxious and uses that as an excuse to escape and avoid reality? Dude, you have an opportunity to level the fuck up. When you're anxious, what are you anxious about? Go fix it, face it, head on. Right? Like, that's the truth. Anxiety is just your nerves. You're rattled about something. What are you scared about? Don't suppress it. Write about it. Talk about it. Express it. Like, anxiety is just that information you have in your brain bottled up. It's trying to get your attention. What do you got to change? What are you worried about? What are you scared about? What are you anxious about? That's what you need to fix in your life to grow into the person you want to be. Right? That's all it is. And if we're talking about, like neurology and brain chemistry, and you want to get all scientific on me about depression and anxiety, dude, go do a fucking 1,000 burpees right now and do them every day. Get your ass in the cold plunge. Talk to me in 90 days and tell me how depressed and anxious you are. Like, it's bullshit, dude. Society's going to sell you on this stuff, then put you on a pharmaceutical that has adverse side effects and turns you into a zombie for the rest of your life. Like, don't buy into that. You are way more powerful, way more capable than you could ever fathom. And if I can make these changes in my own life, 99% of you out there can make them too. There's always exceptions to the rule, and I'm not here to talk about the exception. I'm talking about you, the person who quit, the person who's given up, the person who is living in a world of limitations. You're better than that, but you got to fight to become that person. If you want to level up, like, subscribe, support your boy. I'm one guy, right? I'm just one guy in this world, but on my heart, God told me, man, I got to change the world, but I need your help too. I can't change it alone. I need you to level up. I need you to share this message. Please share and subscribe.